Wow! No, I'm joking. What is up, guys? My name is Steincamper, and today I'm doing something very special. I'm analyzing the Star Wars Force Awakens teaser number 2 because it came out yesterday, and I feel like it's something I should do because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So I've never done a trailer analysis before in my life, so I'm just talking over the screenshots I took because I can't really analyze, I can't really show the trailer in my video because I don't want to get copyrighted. So I took some screenshots. You should be seeing them right now as well. So let's start. We're starting on a planet which is kind of sandy. Kind of sandy. Oh, just a quick notice, I'm not as analytical as other web pages like IGN or Nerdist, where I'm reading some information off just to make it a bit more professional, because it's just a hobby experiment type of thing. So here we go. And we see the first screenshot, so what we're looking at right now, it's kind of like a PowerPoint presentation. We see a crashed X-Wing fighter, and this could be Luke Skywalker's or could just be one of the rebellion. Also, we see something very huge in the background. And this planet, I assume, I don't know, but I assume it's on Tatooine because that's where Luke Skywalker grew up. That's his home planet, so to say. And we've had a couple of scenes on that planet. We had of course, episode 4, the beginning played on Tatooine. And then episode 6, we went back to Tatooine with Jabba the Hutt, with all that Jabba the Hutt scene. So in the next screenshot, which is a bit better, the screen pans a bit to the right, and we see a huge Star Destroyer. Yeah. It's a huge Star Destroyer in the background, and it's crashed along with the X-Wing. So we can assume that there was maybe a battle, and both of them crashed, or maybe this is wreckage from episode 6 still, which is kind of weird because the Star Destroyer was around Endor, and this does not look like Endor, because Endor is a forest planet. So maybe it's a new planet, maybe it's Tatooine. I guess we have to wait for it. Okay. So the next screen is of Darth Vader's charred and mangled helmet. Yes, I'm reading this off the Nerdist webpage, if you noticed. So we see Darth Vader's burned helmet. And of course, this one is after it got burned in episode 6. So I don't really know why it's out of the fire and why we're looking at it, so it's probably kind of important. Around that time, Luke Skywalker also talks about the Force in his family. He talks about his father, himself, his sister, and then he mentions the fourth father, himself. He mentions the fourth person tells that person she has it too, or he or she has it too. And I don't know who he is talking about, because the people we know are in the movie or are part of the trailer are Rey. We have the Stormtrooper, which was, who was it? What's the name? Finn, I think. I hope it's right. And I don't know, maybe it's neither. I think it's not going to be Finn or the Stormtrooper because he's a Stormtrooper. I think a Force level would have been noticed. I think it's going to be Rey, but I'm not really sure. I didn't do extensive research on the Star Wars universe in that topic. So again, we have to wait for what happens. Next screen is actually really exciting. We see R2 next to a fire, maybe it's a wreckage, and we see a hooded figure with a robotic arm, and it's a robotic right arm. So I only assumed it's Luke Skywalker because we also hear Luke Skywalker talking, and it actually really excited me to see old faces, in quotations, the faces, because we don't really see Luke Skywalker. And I don't know what context this is. Maybe it's after the crash. Maybe it was Luke Skywalker's X-Wing that crashed, and here's the aftermath. So we just have to wait for it. I'm gonna say that a lot, I think. So we just have to wait and see what Luke Skywalker does here, because R2 doesn't seem too damaged. He seems a bit roughed up, but he doesn't seem damaged. So it probably was a crash. What we see here. It could also just be that they're hiding out. So then, once Luke Skywalker's speech finishes, monologue? No, not monologue. He talks to somebody. Finishes, we see somebody handing another person a lightsaber, and I really hope I think the person on the right, on the left, is Leia, and I think that is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, or maybe it's Darth Vader's. I didn't, or maybe it's a different lightsaber, but it kind of looks like Luke Skywalker's. You can't really see it well. And I think the person on the right is also a woman because the arms are a bit thinner. But the person on the left is definitely, I think, Leia. And that's maybe because Leia is also learning how to use the Force. because again, in the extended universe, she does become a key member in Luke's alliance in the new Jedi Temple, I think. Maybe I got that wrong. Please don't hate on me. Oh. And then again, we see X-Wing flying around in the water, on the water surface. I don't know what planet this could be. It could be Naboo, because Naboo does have forests and lakes. And we did see this scene, I think we saw the same scene in the first teaser. And then we see a pilot wooing, wooing. He's not a woo girl, guys, don't worry. And that pilot's name is Poe Dameron, and he's part of the rebellion, as you can see from the signs on his helmet. We also see a new helmet, and actually we also saw a new X-Wing this time. We saw that earlier, when the first teaser came out. When was that? Was it November? I don't remember. But we see some new designs, so I'm really excited to see what else they come up with. Then, well, this is a really crappy screenshot. We see the enemy, the Sith Lord, and well, I think it's Kylo Ren. That could be very, very wrong, but I think it's Kylo Ren. And we again see that controversial lightsaber. I personally like it. I think it's pretty cool. I want to see it in action, definitely, and I want to see a good lightsaber fight. And by that I mean the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan was pretty cool. It was significant, of course, but it wasn't action. It wasn't very actiony. And I know that it's because of the time, that it's because of the age it was made in, but the time it was made in. But what I meant is that if he, for example, fights Luke Skywalker, I hope or Mark Hamill has some moves on him. You know, he is a bit older now. It's been a long time since Star Wars Episode 6 came out, where he actually fought the second time with a lightsaber. And that was action containing. So I really hope we see some more of it. Some good fight, because I really want to see how that lightsaber looks in action. And we see some clone troopers behind him. I did not get a good screenshot. I could have actually made that better. And then we see Rey and Finn and a little robot running away from an explosion again on the desert planet. And it's if you look at it in the background, it's actually, oh, I just noticed something else. If you look in the background, it's fenced in. So maybe it's a yard where they sell stuff. I forgot the official name now. What is the name? That's gonna kill me. And up in the left corner, we see a TIE fighter, and I think that's what caused the explosion. I didn't notice that earlier. So they're probably running away from the TIE fighter. She has a staff in her hand. Maybe it's a weapon. Maybe it's a rifle. You know, there's a lot of weapons in the Star Wars universe. And Finn is not wearing a stormtrooper armor, so I'm really excited to see his backstory, what's gonna happen. I could read up on it. And we have the little robot. Personally, I do not like that robot. Not because it's ugly or anything, but because the design confuses me and it looks like a soccer or football ball, a soccer ball. I don't know. It's I have to wait and see. So then again we see Kylo Ren again. I thought there was a different lightsaber when I took the screenshot, but no. In the little corner you can actually see the hilt, the side hilt coming out. And again we have some stormtroopers in the back. And I think they're shooting lightning guns. It could also just be normal lasers. Again, I really like this villain. He looks really, really cool. I like his mask. I can't wait to see him unmasked though. In the other background, we see some people. Maybe it's stormtroopers, maybe it's civilians. And I think there's a walker behind there. Not a Walking Dead walker, but a mechanic walker. And then we get this huge screenshot of an ice planet that is covered in white people. Wow, that sounded really bad. This is an Empire army. These are new helmets. Somebody on 9gag made them into Donald Duck faces. Now I can't get that out of my head. We see some TIE fighters, some TIE fighter wings in the background. We see that it's a huge army. We see a figure in the middle. It could be Kylo Ren. I don't know. It could be the new leader of the Empire. We see an upgraded Empire logo, so it's not the older one, it's the new one. And we see some anti-air guns in the background. I assume this is Hoth, because Hoth is the most known ice planet, and there was actually some life sustainment on there when the rebels were there, so it could be. The stormtroopers themselves, the helmets, the armor, I think it looks very cool. Maybe they're more damage resistant now. I think those are lamps in their helmets. I don't know. Again, I have to wait and see that. And what else can we say about it? It's a nice upgrade. And then I took another screenshot of them where we see them. I think it's before they turn, could be after. And then we see the TIE Fighter again. It's a black model. This one actually looks like the older ones, like the original TIE Fighters. And then we see in the background, in the middle, we see a snowtrooper. So a snow stormtrooper. So it is definitely probably it's probably Hoth what we're looking at. And again, the figure in the middle is still mysterious to me. But I don't think it's Kylo Ren anymore. I'm retracting that decision because I can actually see some face. Not really face, but you can see it's a bit clearer, and Kylo Ren had a mask on. Maybe it's a maybe it's a reflection, but I think it's the new Empire, the new Emperor maybe. Then we see Rey again. I can't really make anything out of this. She just looks really scared. She looks a bit dirty, so I'm assuming it's still on the sand planet. A bit dirty, wow. Then we see some TIE Fighters again. Again, a really bad screenshot because it was really fast, and I didn't want to pause it. These look more chrome, more pimped. Yeah, you feel me? No, they look more pimped. I'm gonna say it. And again, we saw it in the earlier screenshot with the Empire. Then we get to an unmasking. So this actually confirms that, what's his name? Finn, what is a stormtrooper, probably turned good. He has some blood on his helmet, maybe it's just paint, maybe it's blood. And the next range he takes it off and he again looks shocked. So in the first trailer, we actually saw him get shot, saw him looking shocked, and here we see him looking shocked again. But in the first trailer he was waking up in the desert. Maybe it's a connection with the Star Destroyer that crashed. I can't really say much more to that. Here we see a new Emperor shuttle flying to a new and improved Star Destroyer. Looks pretty cool. It's more compact, I think. Maybe it's the same design. Maybe it's just no. It's bigger on the top. And we see some new shuttles, some new spaceships. They all look a bit bulky. They all look bulkier actually. They're either too thin or too bulky. bulky. I don't know. So then we get to this awesome stormtrooper. It's a chrome stormtrooper. I think he's like the max rank. He probably will have a big role in it. Probably hunts the rebellion. Honestly, I would have loved to see Boba Fett because Boba Fett is not dead, and that is confirmed. That is confirmed by George Lucas, and it's confirmed in the extended universe. He does survive the Sarlacc pit, and I really hope we get to see Boba Fett again, but this guy will do probably in the meantime. He looks menacing. Really menacing. Everything is chrome, everything. He has a cape. Edna would say no capes, but capes symbolize bad guys. And he's probably inside the Star Destroyer because we see that background we saw a lot in the Death Star and the Star Destroyers. So I really hope he plays a big role. Here we see the robot peeking out. He's probably inside a spaceship. And it actually proves to be a bit useful. Maybe it's doing surveillance, maybe it's not. Can't really say much about this screenshot either. Here we see Rey again in the open, probably in the sand planet again. And here we see the Align. This is probably when after the explosions, because Finn does look a bit dirty. Again, he's looking shocked again, and he's looking at the hand like, whoa. She does not have 4 fingers, she has 5 fingers. It just looks like she has 4 fingers. And you can see the camp in the back is a bit destroyed. So this is probably after the explosion, and she's probably helping him up. Or maybe they're forming an alliance there. What the hell did I just do? Probably forming an alliance there. Or just helping each other out. Then we see the Millennium Falcon for the second time, and that is amazing. Everything that includes the Millennium Falcon is amazing. Again, it's a really quick screenshot. It is followed by a TIE Fighter into a tube. Into a big square circle. Do I have another screenshot of that? Yes, I do. Here's. These look like I think this is a Star Destroyer, and those are the engines. And it flies through there, and the TIE Fighter is right behind it. And this is probably I'm trying to put this together because this looks like the same planet where the X-Wing and the Star Destroyer. This is probably the same Star Destroyer, and I hope that they're there for Luke Skywalker. That could be it, and then they all meet on that planet. And then, of course, we have the best screenshot. I just got goosebumps looking at it again. We have Han Solo and Chewbacca. And I'm gonna say it, Harrison Ford does look older, but he's actually smiling. He actually looks happy to be in Star Wars again. And we have Chewbacca. He looks good. He doesn't age. No gray hairs, nothing. And Han Solo says the phrase, "We're home." Now, in the background, it could either be inside the Millennium Falcon because it's kind of round, or it's just inside a house. And it could be that they're meeting up with people here. And it could be saying that we're home as in we're home with our family, or we're home as in on the planet. And I'm actually really excited for this scene because I'm trying to put it into context, but I really can't. And this actually made my night. So I hope that in the next trailer, if there's another one, well, there's going to be an official trailer, but if there's another teaser, I hope we see Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. I did see Mark Hamill recently in Flash, and he did a great job playing a villain, so I really like that. And he looks good, but I hope he will look better in The Force Awakens. Did I say Force Unleashed Adventure? No, I don't know. And then, of course, we have the Star Wars The Force Awakens logo. It looks a bit darker. Maybe it's just a computer. But that is basically it for the analysis. I can't really say a lot more. I know I've probably left out some things because I'm not going that deep into it. I can just talk about what I hope from the movie. As I said earlier, did I say it earlier? Maybe I said it in a different recording, but for me this movie is kind of like a 50-50 chance that it's good or bad, because everybody left the original trilogy. It had its flaws, but everybody loved it. And then the new trilogy came out, and I liked it. I honestly think some parts of it are good, then some parts of it are bad. But I don't want to get into it at the moment. So that was the thing. Episode 4, 5, 6 were great. Then episode 1 came in, episode 2, Then episode 3 kind of saved it a bit. But now we waited 10 years for a new episode. 10 years. Did we wait 10 years? Yeah, I think episode 3 came out 2005. That's when I watched it in the cinema. I hope. And now in 2015, 10 years afterwards, we get the next movie. So there's a lot of movies that have a lot of sequels, like Toy Story, Shrek, that I think they're good movies, but I think some movies just don't need more sequels, like Ice Age or Fast and Furious. And I just recently saw it, that's why it came into mind. Never mind. So it's kind of a big deal for Star Wars fans all over the world, especially the ones that grew up with Star Wars like me. I didn't really grow up. I did grow up with Star Wars. I grew up with the new trilogy, but I love the old one as well. Because I'm 20, so episode 3 came out when I was 10. So yeah, you kind of get what I mean. Anyway, we waited so long for the new episode to come out. I just don't want to be disappointed, you know. Nobody wants to be disappointed. I think everybody's in that position where it's either a really good movie or a really bad movie, no in between, because it's Star Wars. In the end, we'll probably love it, especially because we get to see all the old faces again. But that's just 1 out of 3 episodes. There's 2 more, so I'm really, really excited for this movie, and I'm just nervous at the same time. I can't really describe what I'm feeling at the moment. But it's just, from the trailer, it looks really promising. From the characters, they look good. I hope Carrie Fisher looks decent. I'm just saying because Carrie Fisher was hot. Just have to get it out there. And what other hopes do I have for the movies is that, I don't know if I just said it like that. Well, again, I told you I hope Boba Fett is in the movies. So not in this next movie, but maybe in the other 2. Because Boba Fett is my favorite Star Wars character. And I'm not just bandwagoning, I actually did research on his background and everything. So, other things. I hope for some good lightsaber battles, definitely. And maybe some good action scenes. I want to see the Stormtroopers stronger, though. In 4, 5, and 6, the Stormtroopers were not really cool. because we didn't have a big battle, but in episode 6 they got defeated by teddy bears, and they didn't look as menacing as they should. In this trailer right now, they do look more menacing, especially that Chrome Trooper. And so I hope they have some more. And the stormtroopers are menacing in the text, in the writing parts, aspects of Star Wars, in the written aspects, like books and everything. They're menacing, they're a terrible force. And I want them to portray that in the actual movies. And that is, for me, something that matters a lot. And then I really hope they don't just put the old characters to waste, you know. Not just make them show up and say old lines to bring them back, to make them look cool. No, I really want them to be part of the stories. We all know Luke Skywalker is a big part, because he does form the new he does bring the Jedi Council back to life, or restore it. And maybe we get to see Obi-Wan again. Maybe we get some flashbacks. I don't know. Maybe Luke Skywalker will turn evil. There's in the Shadow of the Empire in the comics, Luke Skywalker turns evil for a bit. So everything's open. It's 3 new movies. Maybe they make more, maybe not. But for now, we have to wait about, let's see, it's April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We have to wait 8 more months. That is a lot of waiting for a movie, but I hope it's worth it. So thank you guys. I hope I did a good job. I know I didn't do the best job, but I hope I did a good job. So until the next time, may the Force be with you, and bye-bye.